What's up, guys? So let's Sumo Bully Kennels. Happy Sunday. Back at it here. As promised, we're going to talk about an episode today on Mush. Touched briefly on the last update on Wednesday. So a lot of you guys have been messaging me on the side of what I do. You know, I would say there's no right or wrong, guys. It's what you're comfortable with, what you like, what's easy for you, what you have available, right? So with that said, thank you for tuning into the channel. If you're new here, consider giving us a like and a subscribe. We truly appreciate that. If you have been with us, rocking with us, thank you so much. All your feedback, your advice, all the comments, guys, has really helped us out tremendously, and so we appreciate that. And so we're gonna get into Mush today. Enjoying a Sunday with the puppies here. These videos are from today, so if you are a football season just started, so if you're a football person, congrats to you. Very excited for the season. Being in Chicago and being a Bears fan, a Bears fan and dealing with the pain for years. We actually got a decent team, so we'll see how well they do on their first year one as they click up. So very excited for that. Anyhow, so these guys now a little over 6 weeks. You see how fast they grow. This is the Clausen Fortuna litter for you guys have been following. I'm doing my weekly weigh-in still on Wednesday, but today was a very nice day. Good weather. Like to let them get out here and stretch out a little bit, let them play. So and it's nice. It's good for them to be able to run around. I was saying they're already going through the dog flap, already using the bathroom outside. This is pretty cool. So I mean, they're not fully housebroken at this age, but part of that transition before they go to their forever homes is that the transition from into hard foods and starting to use the bathroom outside, early programming. Some they're nippy right now, and just handling the dog so that they understand that nipping is not encouraged. Little things like that, just being responsible, socializing the dog with people. But again, they're puppies. They're very curious and super cute, of course. And they're figuring it out. So we got videos of these guys here. So without further ado, let's get into our Mush episode. While this is playing, let me find my images, right? Okay, so let me first go over what we do. So I'll pause this video real quick. There you go. All right. So we start, I'll play while I talk about it. We start introducing Mush past 3 weeks. Right around that 3-week mark. They're not fully eating it yet, but I'll put some on my finger, put it on the roof of their mouth, on their tongue, put a little bowl there. They get curious, they'll walk up to it, smell it. And same thing with the milk replacer, right? The goat milk. I like using goat milk. So in the beginning, they still want to suckle off mom. They're not fully, in Mush at that time. But it's getting them accustomed to, getting the mush in there, pushing their face in there. Sometimes they'll step in it and they'll lick their feet. It's just introducing to them to the next transition, right? And not just expecting them to, here you go, here's mush, and that's what you're eating now. Gradually putting these things that's for their next, stage of evolution is the word. Progression, I would say. Progression is a good word. So so right around after the 3-week mark, I start introducing the Mush, and they can get familiar with the feeding bowl, because the feeding bowl is new to them. Up to that point, they've just been on mom. From the time they're born, I try to bottle feed, suckle them with goat's milk, just for them to have another avenue to eat and introduce them to the bottle. Not that I needed to, because Fortuna produced a lot of milk, and she's still producing a lot of milk, so I'm blessed to have that, right? But in the event that we did have that milk shortage, it would be nice to, have a secondary option. So um, 4 weeks, still like I get to 4 weeks, I separate them out and maybe let mom in there twice a day, twice to 3 times a day, and really trying to stretch them out longer now to make them drink from the milk replacement bowl, which I put goat's milk, and or make the mush. So initially, what they were doing is they would drink the goat's milk first and kind of play with the mush, right? We roll around to week 5, and they're still more on the milk and eating the mush a little bit. Week 6 is where it really turns. Like you can see this is a little past week 6, but they're running around like crazy. Now they're eating more mush than they are milk, or equally, the milk replacer. But yeah, they're eating mush now. Like I'll do 3 servings and they'll go through it in a day, which is good. You want that appetite, and I'll go over the ingredients of it and why I use those ingredients. So I'm just trying to give you kind of like how the whole thing progresses, right? Introduction, new food bowls. They don't know what a food bowl is. They're looking at how good is this, sniffing it. They'll step into it. First time you do it, they're gonna make a mess. They're gonna get mush everywhere. They're gonna step in it and then track it everywhere. Just a hot mess. And it gets better as it goes along, right? But yeah, those are what to expect, right? And so without further ado, let me pause this. Okay, let's go with ingredient 1 of mush. What do we put? We put ground beef. Now, I just found this picture on Costco of the Kirkland 8812. You can go 80/20 if you like. 80/20 and up is fine. 90/10 even, 88/12 is fine. Here, ground beef. I like ground beef. Good source of protein. I don't cook this, guys. I give this to them raw. So what I do is I take it, I put it in a bowl. This is my first ingredient. My second ingredient, let's see, is this guy, canned pumpkin. You can get this at any grocery store. Same thing with the ground beef. Order on Amazon if you like. Whatever works for you. So with this, let's think about ratios, right? So let's say I did a handful of ground beef, like a heaping handful. I'd probably put 3 teaspoons of pumpkin in there, or tablespoons, big heaping tablespoons. And the pumpkin's good because it helps them with their digestion so that they don't get constipated. So this is my second ingredient. Now I do sometimes put in the beginning, especially in the beginning, is I'll put a little bit of goat's milk into that mixture, because at this time they're used to drinking goat's milk now, so they understand it's food, right? They get familiar with that smell. So I will put the goat's milk in there. Nope. And I will sprinkle some of this guy. 1 second. Close. There you go. Here we go. Gerber cereal for baby. This is the plain. So you see it has the iron in it. Looks like oatmeal. I don't really put the hot water in there. I do warm water from the sink. And so that's basic 4 ingredients, right? Boom. I mix that up, and my consistency is very thin, right? Especially the younger they are, because they haven't ate solids yet. So especially in week 3, week 4, right around that time, it's really thinning out your consistency, so it's easy for them. Like they're not, imagine if you ate a spoon of peanut butter with no water, right? Like almost choking on it. So I like to have it more watery, more runny in the beginning, especially when they're first transitioning into mush, and that's why they call it mush, right? It's a mushy consistency. So imagine like a bowl of oatmeal, but it's almost like a thick soup, I would say. If you think about the consistency of clam chowder soup, right? That base is thick, so maybe just a little bit thicker than that is a good consistency for me. Yeah, and so basically, I would say 80% of my the fill is the ground beef. Then I have pumpkin. Then I put rice cereal, a little bit of goat's milk. That is one in the puppy feeding tray, and then on the next puppy feeding tray I will put goat's milk, and I normally do a 2-to-1 ratio, 2-to-1 powdered milk. So let's say the container is just this big. That this much of it, a third of it is the goat's milk powder, and then the 2/3 is the water, and fill the container all the way up. I normally do a 28-ounce container. I'll mix that up, and they'll polish that off in one sitting for 6 puppies. And again, a lot of the ratios, you're going to play with your ratios to see how much your puppies are eating, but a lot of it's going to have to do with how big your litter is, right? So the ratios I'm doing with this because I have 6 pups. Now, if you had a 10-piece or an 8-piece, you know, that makes a difference in how much you're going to make. But typically right now, I'd feed them three times a day with food, and put the milk replacement in there 3 times as well. I like to have some kind of food in there, but always have some liquid in there for them to drink. It's not my space for them is insulated, so it's not burning hot. However, it's good for them to have access, right, to be able to eat when they want, eat when they're hungry. And I do rock with a baby monitor, sound and audio and visual, I'm sorry. And so they will cry when they're hungry. So they'll start whining, whimpering, crying. At this stage, they're not crying for mom as much now at week 6, a little past week 6, right? Just because we've been working on it. But initially, man, that's all they do is cry for mom. So they're getting a lot better. They're becoming more independent. Let them run around the yard now. You know, I'll do puppy playtime. But the way we're set up in our kennel, and I'll do a video on that for Wean Wednesdays, that they have 5 by 10 space, right? And then they also have a dog flap to go in and out, so that they can go out and come back in on their own. You know, and again, they're already starting to use the bathroom outside, pee and poo. And in that 5 by 10, I have cedar chips, and that helps absorb the pee and the poo and make it easier for cleanup. And I'll go over my whole cleaning process and procedures as well. That'll be a good episode for me to get into that and why I'm set up that way, and to make it easy for me as a person whelping, right? To keep my puppies safe, give them a safer environment, but also make them comfortable and give them, you know, just room to play, room to run around, so they're not so cooped up. So I will do an episode on that probably after Wean Wednesday this week, towards the end of the week. Some of you guys were asking me about that, so. Okay, so recap on ingredients. We want ground beef. You can go 80-20. This is 8812 from Costco. This is the last pack I bought, but it's not this actual picture. This is a picture I got on the internet. So pumpkin, always good. Even my adult dogs get pumpkin in their food. It's a good additive for gut health. Keep them regular, things like that. Goat's milk's a winner. High in calcium as well. And Gerber cereal for babies. This is the plain, non-flavored, and it gives it that nice body, and it's good for them as well. So I guess with puppies, you're looking at them knuckling over. Watch your protein. Look at your puppy's joints. I would say that's one key thing to watch for. You'll typically see it on the front where they knuckle over in the front. You know what? I'd probably find a good picture of that. That's a good picture, I suppose. Puppy knuckling over. You guys have seen this. Okay, this is a little bit extreme, but Jesus. I would say like this. You see this, and this is not. That's an extreme picture, but you will see that knuckling over. You got to make adjustments to that diet. Trying to find something that's more common, that you would see more common. Gosh, these are really bad examples. So this is the part where I'm talking about, is looking at this part of the foot. That's where you're going to see that knuckling over, guys. So And a lot of that with their young has to do with diet. Maybe you're a little high on the protein, so be mindful of that and watch for that is what I would say. Da, 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 da. So yeah, back to the mush. Real basic, guys. That's what I do. Is it? That's what I like. That's the mixture I like. Um, you know, some guys will put sour cream, and I do. Oh, one thing I did forget. I don't do it for every meal, but I will add a whole egg, like 1 or 2 raw eggs in there, minus the shell, just the egg and the egg yolk, and mix it in. Egg is a very good source of a complete protein. The yolk, very healthy for them. So I guess that would make it 5 ingredients. But at this point, I no longer put the goat's milk in there because they're already drinking the goat's milk, right? So technically, I only have 3 ingredients at this stage. Little past week 6 is ground beef, pumpkin, Gerber rice cereal, and then I'll drop in an egg in there. Not every meal though. Maybe once a day. I'll drop 1 or 2 eggs in there, mix it in into that mush consistency, so that it adds more protein, right? Good for the dogs. See, is that it for So you're adjusting your formulation and your thickness, right? And again, for a recap, I added the goat's milk earlier because that's the first thing they gravitated to, is drinking a liquid goat's milk. So once they started eating the mush and really started to dig into it, I take out the goat's milk now. Now it's just ground beef, pumpkin, Gerber rice cereal, and possibly an egg out of one of the meals, right? Raw egg into one of the meals, and that is about it. At this point, they'll get in there. They're less clumsy around the food now. Now they're programmed. They understand that when I drop that bowl down, there's going to be food in there and it's eating time. And if they don't finish, I leave it there because sometimes they'll go play, they'll come back and eat. But generally speaking, I do put food in there 3 times a day right now. That's where I'm at, and I put a good amount. Some people will say, yeah, well, I do 4. Well, it just depends on how much food you put in there. So for me, I'll put more food than they can eat, and then that way they have liberty to come in and eat. But I will I definitely have to add, replenish the food at least 3 times a day is what I'm saying. So when I initially put it, they don't finish it. They'll finish it through the day, and then I'll refill it. They'll finish it through the day, and I'll refill it. And that's how I do it, guys. Now, and of course, because they're still young, but as they get bigger, of course, now they're going to get more into a direct schedule where they're going to get the food X amount, twice a day or 3 times a day at certain times. For example, right, why is that important for me? A good example is, let's say I'm going to work and I'm out for work for 6-7 hours, and they're going to get hungry in between that time, right? I work for a living, I'm sure most of you guys do. So if you have a litter and there's a period of time that no one's watching them, you can't just leave them without food. That's why I put more food than they need, like overnight when I go to bed. I'll put a lot more food than they would eat, and in the morning it's gone, to be honest with you. And if there is something left, it's not much at all. And let's say I went to bed at 10 or 11 o'clock and I get up at 7 a.m., 6 a.m., the food's gone. So, and that's why I do it, guys. So some of you guys might say, yeah, well, I feed 4. On the weekends, I can do that. On the weekdays, no. Between being a father, running a business, working, things like that, I don't have that kind of, time luxury. If some of you guys have that, man, that's awesome. Good for you. At that moment, I don't. And so I have to, give them food and enough water or milk additive so that they can sustain themselves through the day until I can get back home and take care of them. So yeah, much very simple, guys. Probably after week 7, I'll start introducing some puppy kibble, right? Because wherever they may go to the permanent home, most people are going to feed kibble, right? And so now, when they hit week 7, I'm going to start introducing puppy kibble so they understand that puppy kibble is food and they get familiar with it. But that's not till this coming week up, and which will be Wednesday. They turn 7 weeks exactly, and that's right about the time, Tuesday or Wednesdays, when I'm going to introduce the puppy kibble to them. And just really, find that transition, right? Because if they never had kibble before they leave me and they go to you or somebody else, that they're like, well, what is this? It looks weird. What? I'm sure they'll eat anyway. But, for me, it's progression and transitions in their life, right? These are all new things to them. Everything is new to them. And so, we want to introduce these things so they get familiar, right? Let me see, did I cover everything with the Mush episode? I did. Yeah, no, that's what I do, guys. If you got some killer tips from Mush, yeah, let me know. I would gladly take any of your tips. I appreciate when you guys do message me and comment because, again, I'm not the sole owner of the truth. I don't know everything. I don't think anybody does, and I think by sharing information, exchanging, we all help each other become better people, become better dog people, breeders, and everything else. So now I'm also going to do an episode, guys, about the shots. Putting in your own shots and whatnot. So I got a couple of good episodes for you guys. I've been documenting my weans, my whelping. Today is the Mush, but we've got some good, cool episodes in terms of administering your own shots, when to do it, deworming, all these things here. So very exciting stuff, guys. With that said, I will see you guys in a couple days for Weaning Wednesday. Less soon will bully Kennels. Happy Sunday. Have a great week, and I hope your football team won. I'll catch you guys on the next one.